She was at her screen. Nope, she was at her sink. And her son was throwing up in the living room. And you won't believe what happened next. Yep, that's right. Breathwork Bridget lost her you know what. And the past couple episodes have been confessionals about me. I'm so grateful to have a guest here who's going to have a confessional and tell me about all your dirty secrets. Maybe they're not that dirty, but they're certainly going to be interesting, so stay tuned. And if you're watching live, we want to hear from you. We're watching the chat. We want to answer any questions that you might have. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Discovery Church for allowing us to record this episode here for Awful Okay Awesome, which is the show filled with confessions that are some of the toughest moments for our guests and for me sometimes that led us to our divine path as led by God. And I'm Marta Saray Greca. I'm your host. I am the owner of Whole Truth Communications LLC, which produces the show. It is actually like a bare bones production. No fancy schmancy anything, no editing, just raw cuts and real stories. So Bridget, before we go into your story of what happened and why you were screaming, which I do quite often, actually. It feels really good. But in different scenarios. But, and we can talk about that a little bit too, how that could be a method.
Oh, absolutely.
I want the people to know who you are and what your business is. And then I want to go into your story that you're going to expand upon in the book that we're writing together that we don't know what it's called yet. We'll mastermind that together today.
Okay.
That is filled with stories of trials and tribulations that led to passion and purpose. And there'll be stories that help the reader embody their wealthiest self, from strategy to metaphysics. So what's your business? What do you do?
So my business name is just my name, basically, Bridget Kreider Coaching. And what do I do? My passion is really to help women shift out of survival mode and really prioritize their health unapologetically through inserting rest and relaxation back into their daily lives. I really think we've gotten away from that. We've lived so much in hustle culture and really productivity, defining our worth. And that was really a huge piece of my own story. And I had to relearn how to kind of live with rest being at the forefront of things. And when it is that I've discovered, and we prioritize like that nervous system regulation first, really so many more things open up to us. And we let our light shine in such a different capacity, more often, I think, because we're not stuck in this low energy hustle vibe, thinking that that's the right way. Not that there's a right or wrong way per se, but it's when we get stuck in that, it's not actually healthy. Even though the world is telling us, hey, this is how you do it, right? This is how you go about life. And what I'm finding is that it's not sustainable, and I want to show other women that it's more sustainable doing it this other way. Mm-hmm. And more authentic to ourselves and who we are and who we really want to be and show up as in this world.
So it is so tempting, even for me who prides myself in being really good at unplugging, that we see other people around us who are like, yeah, I'll do that. Yes, I'll sign up for that. Yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll volunteer for this. And we're like, oh, maybe we should do that, because otherwise we're not being a team player. Otherwise we're not being benevolent creatures who are helpers, who are here to do good. And then we start to compare ourselves to, oh, but she can make that 7 p.m. meeting and she also has a lot of kids, so I should be able to too. And in order to get what we want, sometimes we have to do things we don't want to do.
Oh my gosh.
And it is so not true. And I am very grateful for the company that one of my businesses is through as well. But they have such a hustle culture that now I'm realizing I can leverage that rather than try to match that energy. Like, you want to be on 24/7? Great. You're available, but I'm not, right?
Yeah. I think that you nailed that, of like, this is how the world is operating. But inside, how are you actually feeling when you operate that way? And is it sustainable? Is it true to who you really want to be and who you are? Or are you just trying to match the energy of the world? And I think that's some really valid questions, and we really have to go inward. And it's, I don't want to say it's a fight. Maybe at first it feels like a fight against the world of like, I need to fight up and push against this hustle. Because it does feel a little bit like a fight, I think, of like, I'm going against the grain and it feels wrong. But at the same time, there's that piece of you that it's like, but this is authentic and this feels so good as you lean more into it. Have you found that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm very guilty of, especially when I'm part of a church, which again, thanks to Discovery for hosting us here. They allow us to have the space, and you too can have a space. You can use their space for your events and productions and parties and things like that. But I digress. Well, especially when I'm like part of a church or a school or anything, I'm like, I'll volunteer for that. I'll do that. I could do that. Yeah. And then my husband is usually the one who's like, okay, you like, we're barely making it to church on Sunday on time with our pants on, you know? Maybe we don't volunteer for 5 things on this sheet of paper. Maybe you just wait till you're at least a member for a year, and I'm like, no, we're going to join the band, and you're going to be the guitarist, and I'm going to be on vocals. And he's like, or you try to follow my lead. And so I'm very guilty of that. But that's fun, right?
It is fun, and I think there's a big difference. And here's the thing that's been really profound for me, is that there's a big difference between capability and capacity. And
I like that.
So we're capable of a million different things,
yes,
right? Mm-hmm. But our capacity maybe at the moment isn't there, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we have to really discern, what is my actual capacity right now? And another way I look at it too, being in the health and wellness world, is at what cost? I try to add that at the end of it. Like, at what cost? Like, what is this going to do? If I do this, mm-hmm. then how will this affect my well-being? Mm-hmm. Is it worth it for me? Will my mental, emotional, or physical health suffer in any way because of taking on all of these things that sound fun and exciting? And another question I love to ask myself too is, am I doing this just Am I going to say yes to this because that's the people-pleasing aspect mm-hmm. of me trying to show up, my ego involved? Mm-hmm. Or am I doing this from a place of love and authenticity mm-hmm. and because it's going to light up my soul?
Yeah.
So that's the other aspect.
Yeah. If my best friend is listening right now, I mean, she's all over the world. She's got an amazing career going for her right now. I mean, she's headed to Hollywood for her movie premiere, and she wanted us all to go, and she's mm-hmm. got her team going, and I'm part of her team because and it was such a lot of tug of war because I was like, trust me, you don't want me to go. Trust me, you don't want me to go. I will be a wet blanket, because the experience is like so high energy, on 24/7, lights, camera, action. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And I'm like, it's 9:00. I need to go home and be in my room by myself and turn off the lights and talk to no one, which is essentially when the action starts. And it was like, and I did get lovingly sucked in a way of like, but she's my best friend and I should support her in this very important moment. And I'm like, my husband, I'm like, hear me out. I'll just go for 3 days. Okay. I'll fly out Saturday, be gone Sunday, be back by 9 a.m. Monday. He's like, no. How many times do I have to tell you? Like, no, this sounds like this, like, no, Great. And he's very good at like bringing me back to earth and being like, I know this sounds great. It's a month away. Yeah. As you approach it, you're going to have a lot of anxiety, and I have a lot of things going. He's got a lot of great things going on career-wise that are taking ahead right at that time. And he's like, we're just going to stress ourselves out, And eventually she was like, I was being such a pain in the ass that she was like, what, you're right. It's probably better if you don't come.
Stay back.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'll come, but I have this standard and 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 this requirement. And it's like, yeah, never mind, you know?
When it becomes too difficult,
Yeah.
maybe it's not the right
Yeah. I'm like not the person you want there.
You need somebody who's good at night.
Yes, who's gonna
not your night person.
Yes, who's gonna hang.
Yeah.
Who's just gonna go with the and I typically am, but I have a lot when it comes to travel. I have a lot of TMI for her sometimes, but you know,
funny.
it is what it is. So I want to hear your story because obviously this is the stuff that leads me to screaming. But now I try to do it more, strategically, the screaming. But what happened at that kitchen sink when your son was in the living room throwing up and you're screaming?
So much. I feel like there's moments when you are a younger mom, your kids are young, where you might black out. And I feel like that might have been one of those moments, right? But essentially, my son, he was between 1 and 2, I want to say. And I was very anxious mom, and he is very sensitive, and which I understand. I'm also a highly sensitive person. But I was at this stage of life where I was just so like in fight or flight, I think. Now looking back, I know what it is, right? Like I know what was happening, but in that moment, I just felt so overwhelmed so much of the day. I felt so anxious most of the day trying to just be a mom, a stay-at-home mom. You're constantly on. Your kids are always wanting and needing something, and they can be, a lot. You think staying at home is going to be better, but there's so many challenges being home as well. And a lot of it is just being in the mundane tasks, which can be overwhelming, even though they're mundane. And I'm also a high achiever. I love working. I always knew that piece of me too. So I was also starting to get involved with things online in the network marketing space, and trying to manage it all and have it and still have a piece of myself. I had heard so much that before coming a mom, this is my second child, so I already had a daughter, and she was if he was 1, so she was like 3. And a big piece of my journey was like trying not to lose myself in motherhood, because everybody has said, you're going to lose yourself. And I was like, I'm not losing myself. And then through that caused, a lot of internal turmoil. So there he was. I don't know what happened. There was some sort of trigger where my son got extremely upset, and he started to throw up. Anytime he would get really upset, he threw up everywhere. And then I got even more upset because I couldn't stop him from throwing up, and he is throwing up all over the couch, and it's just an absolute disaster zone.
The couch is the worst.
Oh my God, you can't get that stuff out of there.
Yeah. The couch in the car, man.
Well, we're lucky with the 1-car experience I had. I did have a garbage bag, so I was like, thank God.
Wow, that was
I know,
it was
definitely divine. But he had just thrown up everywhere, and I had just I felt so overwhelmed, not only as a mom, like my kid is so distraught, and feeling this way, and I feel so helpless. Number one, helpless, like I can't get him to stop, and I'm so angry. I'm just literally could feel it coursing through my body, just so much anger. And I didn't know what else to do. I had to leave the room, and I went over to the kitchen sink and I just screamed. I just let out this horrific scream of I don't know. I don't know anymore. Just help me. I was just helpless and feeling hopeless and overwhelmed. And in that moment, I realized I can't continue to feel this way. Is there something wrong with me? What is wrong with me? This isn't who I am. This isn't who I want to be. This is not the mom that I envisioned myself being. Is this angry, uptight person who's always irritable and yelling at my kids, or who can't comfort them when they're having a moment themselves because I'm feeling enraged. What is this? What's going on? And that was that pivotal moment of what's going to change. And that kind of, at the time, did I know it started my journey? No. But I knew something needed to change. Did I know it was going to lead to coaching? No. Did I know it would lead me to where I am now with breathwork being at the forefront of everything I do? No. But what the little steps were is I am so grateful to, she's actually local to Zelia Noble, found her on Instagram of all places. I found so many amazing people through Instagram, by the way.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends are now through
So who is it?
Katie.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who that is.
And she was just so pivotal, such a calming, balanced presence for me. And she had these little things, and I don't think she's really online anymore, but she had these things that she was offering, and I was so drawn to it, and she really helped with her just simple things like doodling, for example. It was so supportive of your nervous system and just exploration. And did I know about the nervous system then? Really, no. But this is what she was doing, was working with helping regulate and bring more calm and peace into my life and my day, and helping me work through some things and find ways to nourish myself so that I could show up better.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful, and that was how it really started, was just these little things that I chose to do with her, that she was offering, and they were special, and they were sweet, and she helped guide in such a wonderful, gentle way in a place that felt really hard for me. So that's how it actually started, you know, and then it led to other things, and I eventually got here. But
so I just want to also say that stage of toddler is it is incessantly tapping at your nervous system, constant in all senses. And so I remember having 5 kids, and my 5th one becoming older, and me thinking oh, I've got it, I've solved this overwhelm thing.
Yeah.
And I was I could do one more, and then that ended up being also a tragic loss simultaneously at the same time with my mom. And then I was oh, I could do one more, and then there was 2 miscarriages between that, and it was and now I'm back in the toddler stage, and I have to remember it's a tough stage. Give yourself grace, because I've been hearing this quote a lot, but what is the quote? It's it's not, peace isn't being without chaos.
Yeah.
It is what would you say peace is?
Being present with just what is,
Yeah.
honestly, allowing it to be the way it is.
Yeah.
That to me has been huge, of just accepting it, and that I can also have choice of how I view it, perspective. I don't know if that...
Yeah, I mean, I just had that conversation with my teenager last night, because it is hard being a teenager living in a house with toddlers and younger kids, and he wants calm sometimes, and he doesn't want to be asked to go do this and this and this, and he doesn't want somebody to be making a mess. He likes things neat, but he can't control that. And so he has this right now this phase of being angry. And so I sat him down, and I'm you can't control your environment, but you can control how you react to it. And what can I do to help? What do you think you could do to help? Do you need to go take a break for a week at grandma's? I mean, that sounds phenomenal to me. Send me to someone's house without...
They can cook for me maybe a little bit.
Yeah. She would be amazing at that, by the way. I have the best mother-in-law. But I mean, and sometimes I'll even be at the office, and I'll be man, I am exhausted. It is 6 o'clock. I am exhausted. But this is more restful than going home. So that doesn't mean I keep working. No, I very much will say I will stay at the office, and I'll pop open my laptop and watch a movie and have a kombucha or have a drink or have a sparkling water. And people think I'm weird. No, I'm absolutely going to be here without anybody and watch a movie and just snuggle with myself. I'm okay with that.
But see, there would have been a part of now I could do that, right? But
There's
there would
still
have
a
been
part.
that, is there a
Yeah.
part that's guilty
Yes.
for like doing, like I should be working.
Yes.
And it's that piece that
Like, don't you love your children?
Yes, but that's the question. How do I want to show up for my kids, and what's going to allow me to do that?
Yes.
Continue to force and push through and just
Yep.
show up with grit and, you know, all the things we're taught to do is just
Right.
force and or am I going to allow myself the grace to just enjoy this movie for an hour and a half with my kombucha so that then I can come back with more clarity and focus to do maybe an hour's worth of work diligently with more flow, that flow state that we all love, and then show up back at home revived,
Right.
replenished.
Or do you push through, or do you do a 10-minute meditation on your floor in your office just to like recalibrate and reinfuse yourself with energy? So what are some, we talk about this, you know, kind of frequently in the Facebook group that you're in for the anthology that we're writing together, but it's like, what are some things that you do to reset your energy, to reground yourself, to recalibrate?
Yeah, so I love this because everything is free, and I love a deal. But I think the most beautiful thing is that we're always. Let me preface this. I feel like we're always looking outside of ourselves, right? Oh, I need to buy this in order to feel this way. I need to do this in order to feel this. I need this supplement. I need this wellness thing. I need this. And the world is telling us constantly to just buy.
Yeah.
And I've really tried to step away from that and utilize what God gave me, which is my breath, number one, and number two, nature, right? So I look outside all the time. I have this beautiful hummingbird feeder, and I just stare at the hummingbirds, and I laugh because they're crazy. Absolutely crazy birds. They're so fun.
I love that.
So, you know, I utilize nature, and one of the most beautiful things, you know, you want high vibe energy, and the way you do that is high vibe emotions, right? What are those high vibe emotions? Awe, gratitude, love. Those would be, I believe, your top three. And science has proven over and over again, right? Gratitude alone, when you focus on gratitude, guess what it does? It's your best friend. It helps actually prevent against pathogens. So it releases something called immunoglobulin in your body, which is a preventative measure for preventing diseases. So it's literally, your body is a pharmacy, and it's learning how to tap into that pharmacy every day in such a natural way by the things that God literally has given us. And He breathed life into us. Your breath is a phenomenal way of changing your state every single day. So that is honestly the thing that I do the most, is focusing on simple awareness, breath awareness. So how am I breathing? Because when you breathe through your mouth, you're actually keeping yourself in a survival state. So just shifting to nose breathing, that's where you're supposed to be breathing. God did not give us our mouth to breathe from. He gave us a nose, and it has very special capabilities. So breathing through your nose helps get you back into that rest and digest state and stay more connected to yourself. So literally just that can change so much for you. Then it's conscious breathing patterns. So resorting to something I love is the balanced breath, and that's 5.5. No, don't get stuck on this, okay? 5.5 counts in, 5.5 counts out. It's like between 5 and 6 counts, okay? So I will just hang for an extra second, right, with that, in 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go back down, right? And it's just a cyclical breathing pattern that is so beautiful. Or you can do something called box breathing, where you imagine drawing a box with your breath. You breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. And you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And these things help really connect you back to yourself. And then I do deeper practices. Pretty much daily, I've resorted to about 15 to 20 minutes of an actual breathing practice. And I throw on an app that I use. I was trained through elemental rhythm breath work. And so we have an app that I plug into on a regular basis, if not daily, that allows me to go deeper. And those deeper moments where we give ourselves the 20 minutes in the morning or midday or even at night, are just so amazing because that helps us get into our subconscious where it's just this deeper rest for our bodies, a deeper reset for our bodies. And by doing that, there's tons of research too to support, how your brain actually changes. You can change neuroplasticity and new neural pathways actually are created. You can, and I work with this with myself as well, with limiting beliefs that we have, is just working with that belief and creating new beliefs, because your subconscious is really open to receiving new thoughts. And so there's a lot on that level as well, which I love and I tap into on a daily basis to help me feel more clarity and focus in what I'm doing in my mission.
I love all that. Yeah. And you mentioned a couple things. I mean, I have an adult son, and he was having a hard time yesterday. He was like going into a panic. He's a bodybuilder, and he didn't, he like got himself out of breath, which then that led, into some panic and then some nausea because of improper breathing. Mm-hmm. So he's calling me, and he's, he's like, I'm like in a panic. And we did the breathing. Mm-hmm. Well, I started with, okay, what do you see? And he's like, the front of this bathroom stall. And I'm like, okay, what do you smell? And he's like, it smells terrible in here. And I'm like, okay, what do you feel? And he's like, the wall. I'm like, okay, you're touching the wall. And he's like, I'm like, what do you hear? And he's like, I hear people just outside in the gym working out. And and then I was like, okay, now take a deep breath in, hold out, through your mouth. Do you feel a little better? And he's like, yeah.
It's just a simple thing.
And then I was like, your dad is the pro at panic attacks. Call him right now. I got him. It's like I felt terrible, but I like,
you got him at least to a place where you can make that call.
Yeah. And like my husband's like a genius when it comes to panic attacks and anxiety. He's been dealing with it his whole life, but that allows him to help the kids. And when you talk about apps, which I love that you have a trusted app, because as a brand ambassador of so many brands through my social media, through my Instagram, I often get approached by this app and that app and that app, and I just kind of roll my eyes because I'm like, I personally don't need these 10 apps, so I will not be promoting them. And I get paid. I get paid to promote brands, to create the content. It's not commission. So I don't even care if you pay me. Like, I am not going to promote these 10 apps because I don't know. I don't have somebody that I trust to recommend it. And just like we have at Discovery Church, the trusted resources and the apps for the Bible, you are a trusted resource for this kind of app. So what was that app called?
It's the Elemental Rhythm app.
Okay,
so
cool.
It's who I was trained through, and the app is phenomenal. And then you can also look at different ways to getting involved as a breathwork facilitator and other trainings and stuff. So.
I love that. Okay, well, we are headed off to our mastermind for our anthology. We're creating this phenomenal book. We don't know what it's called yet. We're taking votes. If you want to put it in the comments, if you're listening on a platform that allows you to comment. If you're listening on a podcast platform, you can't do that. But if you're on YouTube, yes, you can. This is going to be like the wealth code, right? The wealth code, like the wealth guidebook to help you embody your fullest, highest, most abundant, prosperous self. But that doesn't necessarily mean riches. Yes, it also will mean riches because there's a strategy component to that. And, but there's never any guarantees. I have to say that as a licensed financial representative. But it is like going to be the book that supports your whole mental, physical, energetic, spiritual, strategic self when it comes to wealth, embodiment, and building. So we cannot wait to share that with you. And find Bridget on social media. She'll be tagged when we share these little teasers throughout all of the platforms. Again, I'm Marta Saray Greca. I am your hostess. I'm your host. I am a financial representative with Primerica, as well as the owner of Whole Truth Communications, which is a marketing and PR firm for holistic practitioners and service providers. We can't wait for you to listen to the last 2 episodes. Just kidding. I'd prefer if you didn't listen to them, actually. There's a lot of unhinged stuff happening. And stay tuned for more guests in the next coming weeks. And again, thank you to Discovery Church for hosting this show. It is a phenomenal church. I myself am a community member. And you can rent out spaces for your own productions, events, parties, you name it. They love to host, and it's a beautiful facility. Until next time, bye, everyone.
Bye.